Welcome to Disability Without Poverty's first research symposium and the launch of our third annual report card on disability poverty in Canada. We hope this will be the first of many research symposium over the years to come, and we hope that you will join us live or by looking through our archives. We commit to making this as accessible to as many people as possible by the accessibility features in these videos and by making it virtual and free. My name is Michelle Hewitt, and it is my honour to be Chair of the Board of Disability Without Poverty. I welcome you on the United Nations International Day for Persons with Disabilities, IDPD, December the 3rd each year. The theme for this year, 2025, is Fostering Disability Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress. For us, investing in research and bringing people together to share their research leads to those advances in social progress we so desperately need. I was recently reminded of a quote by Lester B. Pearson from 1957 when he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He said, "How can there be peace without people understanding each other? And how can this be if they do not know each other?" Disabled people need peace in their lives. And for disabled people living in poverty, they continually live in crisis. We have to confront this crisis and find ways that our wider society knows and understands disabled people, particularly the most vulnerable members of our community, those living in poverty. At Disability Without Poverty, I believe that we really concentrate on society knowing and understanding disabled people. Through our grassroots mobilisation, we listen to disabled people and help them advocate for themselves and others so that we really get to know the most vulnerable groups of disabled people and we understand how we can best help them. Understanding the situation that brings twice as many disabled people by population to live in poverty than non-disabled people is both simple and complex. Simply, we know that most severely disabled people can't work, and those that can work face many barriers. We know that disability rates are woefully inadequate. The complexity comes in finding the root causes and addressing them and making deep societal systemic change. For this to happen, we need research. At DWP, we began by researching the possibility of a Canada disability benefit when it was in its very earliest stages. We followed that by our Shape the CDB report, where we used community engaged research to reach out to the most vulnerable members of our community to hear what they needed the CDB to be. At the same time, we created an annual report card on disability poverty, and Rabia will follow by leading the launch of this year's report card. Now is the time to move beyond the work that we all do individually and to find ways to increase the understanding by linking together all people who are doing research into disability poverty in its many forms. My own research is about younger disabled adults who have no other option than to live in long-term care facilities where the average resident is 85 and has dementia. My research population makes up 7% of the population of our long-term care facilities and are often the only person in that age range in the facility. When I was defending my PhD, one of my supervisors was a gerontologist and had been researching long-term care for most of his career. He was just about to retire and said that it wasn't until he started to supervise my work that he even realized there were younger people in long-term care facilities. He's a wonderful man, and his comment is no reflection on his work. Instead, it's symptomatic of how invisible disabled people are, and the most vulnerable people in our society are particularly made invisible by their inability to be visible. At DWP, we believe in bringing us all into the light and bringing together the magnificent researchers from all over our country that are working on similar issues on disability poverty. When we put out our call for submissions, we realised that there was enough excellent work for a week-long conference. We had people that had already created panels and conversations. And then we had people who wanted to give lectures. We didn't want to lose any of this work, so we began to group people into similar areas: housing, policy failures, neoliberalism, and other areas, and asked them to pre-record lectures for you to watch in advance so we can get straight to the excellent discussions that we know are going to take place. Now, if you haven't watched the videos in advance, don't panic. Each panelist will give you a quick synopsis of their work at the start of each session. Also, poster presentations are a typical part of conferences. To make sure we capture this work that is not yet ready for a full lecture or a panel, but really important to share, we have videos that are 5 minutes or less. Please go check them out. Links will be given in the chat throughout the presentations. If you can hear a noise behind me, that's my service dog, Leo, chomping on a treat. It's not very quiet, I'm very sorry. But that's our life as disabled people. As we talk about building Canada as a nation in times that are quite unlike any other, we must make sure that disabled people are part of building Canada and that the Canada that is built includes them. Research is so vital to this. It tells stories in words, pictures, and data. Margaret Price, a disability scholar, says that disability studies research is messy, and it's easy to see why. We are not a homogenous group of people. We differ as much as any group of people, and we need research that highlights our similar needs while preserving our differences. And with that, I hand over to Rabia Khader, the National Director of DWP, to tell you more stories and to introduce you to our report card. Please enjoy our research symposium.